Alrighty. This is your Athens, Georgia townie weather girl. And if you happened to join me a second ago, you may realize that I didn't have any audio. I'm going to come back and step through all the things again. And we're going to take a look at the potential for severe weather. Alrighty. And we're going to do that so we don't have to listen to my echo. So we're going to take a look at the potential for severe weather tonight and tomorrow and potentially all the way over into Sunday. Presently outside it is muggy and very hot and overcast. Looks like it's about to rain, but it's not going to rain, not for a while. Today was just extremely muggy. When I went outside this morning around 10:30 or so, it felt like a summer, just a hot summer August afternoon. Honestly, it was pretty freaking brutal. And all that humidity and the temperature, all that combined, we had an abundance of CAPE in the atmosphere, convective atmospheric potential energy, and that is a fancy schmancy word for like storm fuel. Just because you have a lot of CAPE in the atmosphere, like it's storm fuel, but you'll often need something to trigger that. And the reason why we haven't seen any like rain or severe weather throughout this day is because we haven't had any triggers. There's not been any forcing event. There's not been any fronts move through that kind of breaks things open and triggers things to happen. That will change a little bit later tonight. We will see a front pass through, and that's the forcing that's going to help get this thing started. Presently, we'll take a look at our radar Omega, and we can see right now, if we'll zoom in a little, oops, I don't want to do that one, I want to do this one over here. Let's zoom in a little bit here into our area, and there is literally not a drop of rain falling anywhere close to us. It looks like there's something trying to fall over, towards Anderson and Lawrence County in South Carolina, and maybe a little bit up into Appalachia here in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee. But right now, there's really nothing happening anywhere near us. There's noise down here around the radar site. It's fake news. All right, so if we scroll up a little bit, see things are a lot different. Throughout the afternoon, there have been tornadoes and severe weather all across the Midwest and Ohio Valley area. Like Missouri, St. Louis had an actual pretty decent sized tornado touchdown in downtown St. Louis. There's a pretty cool photo of someone who was in the arch, and they took a picture of the tornado, like not that far away from the arch either. It's like, not almost I'd want to be up in the arch during a tornado, honestly. So we've had a lot of tornadoes right now. Looks like there's a couple warnings, maybe there's two. Looks like three tornado warnings right now, and there's been tornado warnings all afternoon. So we've had a lot of severe weather associated with a low pressure system that's even further up north, up around Illinois and whatnot, and that's interacting with the jet stream and causing a lot of interesting weather. You can see here there's a lot of outages throughout this area, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. New ones dropped right here, just a little bit southeast of Jasper. All right, bringing it back home, right now we have a bunch of nothing going on. So as we get into the evening hours, we're going to see this band of stuff up here. I don't know if I can get a radar site and take a look. Okay, so we're going to see this band of severe weather eventually work its way down in the evening hours, and eventually get into Georgia early tomorrow morning. So we'll take a look at that on the HRRR and the NAM3K models. So give me 2 seconds to pull that up, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so let me minimize Radar Omega. So we're presently looking at the reflectivity map. This is the NAM3K. So we get into the, we're right around here. So right now there's no rain or whatever. So we get into the early, like 1 a.m. or so. We can see this band of showers and squall line essentially, just all the way over Mississippi into Tennessee. That's going to work southeast and eventually get into our area, starting to get into our area around like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. So out in front of this system, there's going to be a decent amount of CAPE in that atmosphere. And remember, I mentioned to you that just because there's a lot of CAPE in that atmosphere doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be like, severe weather. But you kind of have to have something to like pop the severe, to something to light the fuse. And that something is going to be something along the lines like a front passing through, and so that's exactly what we have here. So this front is passing through our area around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So out ahead of this is the SCUT reading right here. It doesn't look that bad, honestly. There's a huge dry slot here in the middle layer. There's not a lot of surface CAPE. There's a little bit of mixed layer CAPE. Forecast CAPE is 2,100, which is it's not bad. It's not like terrible. Capping is decent amount of capping though. There's like negative 214. So that's like the further you get away from zero, the harder it is for storms to like get really tall and really become very active. And the taller storms get, it's when you have more potential for really bigger size hail and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Storm volatility, there's a little bit going on from surface to 1 kilometer, not that much. Surface to 3 kilometers, 127, which is respectable. There's just not a lot of shear in the atmosphere as far as like shear is when you have wind coming one direction and then wind coming another direction, and they kind of intersect at different layers in the atmosphere. Combined with helicity, that's when you start to have things like supercells develop, and tornadoes can pop out of that. But with this setup, we're not looking at that. So at best, let's see, the hail perimeter is at 1.3. So at best, we're looking at some strong gusty winds, maybe some brief heavy rain, and that thing. So this is the NAM 3K. So I'm going to take a look at the. Let me bring this on over. So after around 7 or so this morning, that front is going to pass over and dissipate, and then we get into the afternoon hours of Saturday. Not much going on. By Sunday afternoon, there's a chance that we could have some more, heavy rains, maybe some more severe weather, potentially Sunday afternoon around 3 o'clock. So we'll take a look at a SCUT reading for that. So right now, this system looks tornado warned. Like the SCUT suggests there could be tornado. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to pull the SCUT over here so we can kind of look at it together. I know the SCUT is kind of like, honestly, it's kind of hard to read, so I'm just going to make it really big. Maybe that'll be helpful. So surface CAPE is at 2795. There's a little bit of a dry slot there in the mid layers, but there's not a whole lot there. So that's kind of ideal for tornado, like for severe weather in general, like rain and whatever. You want to have these green and red lines. The green line is your dew point, and your red line is your temperature. You want to have this close together. That's when convection can happen. So we do have a decent amount of CAPE in atmosphere, and CAPE is basically storm energy, storm fuel. Mixed layer CAPE is 2400. Forecast CAPE is at 2901. There's literally no capping, zero. So if something were to pop off Sunday afternoon, according to this SCUT, it would have no trouble getting really tall, and creating some havoc, potentially with some hail and whatnot. So speaking of, the significant hail perimeter is at 1.5. So like again, this suggested that there could be hail with the system on Sunday, and 1.5 is marginal. Like may see some locally like pea size, dime size, maybe quarter size hail or so, but like it would be pretty isolated and not widespread, and like not really worried about that. I'm just not buying this is going to be a tornado because our relative velocities are very low, 24 and 67, and there's very little shear in the atmosphere. So I'm not buying this is the ideal tornado setup. I'm not seeing it. Definitely severe weather. You could have some really gusty winds and hail potential on Sunday afternoon, but I just don't think there's going to be a tornado threat. All right, so let's take a look at the HRRR. Looks like it's loading a new run, which we may or may not have. Looks like, yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is the midnight run. It's just starting to come in, but we're going to take a look at the 23Z run, since that's what we have available to us right now. So again, we're looking at the reflectivity, which shows rain. So we can see here around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, you see this squall line, this line of storms pass through Athens, Georgia. and eventually, as we get into early morning Saturday hours, Saturday morning hours, it's going to kind of dissipate as it pushes on into South Georgia, Macon, and Savannah, Columbia, South Carolina. So not a whole lot as far as that goes. So we'll take a look at a SCUT reading real quick of just what this looks like on the HRRR. And what we have here is a modest amount of CAPE, a little bit of capping. Cloud level is pretty low at 219. And let me scroll this up a little bit so we can see what the hail perimeter is. Hail perimeter is it's 1.9, so it's, again, it's marginally high. Precipitable water, so that's the amount of like the higher your PW goes, the better chance you are for having actual convection and rain happen. So it's 1.87. That's pretty high. So there's definitely going to be some rain come through. So, but yeah, so this doesn't look like tornadic because there's not a lot of storm relative velocity at 26 and 43, depending on the surface to 1 kilometer or surface to 3 kilometer measurement. And there's just a negligible, but not zero, amount of shear in the atmosphere. And again, shear, I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. So shear is when you have wind coming from one direction at one layer in the atmosphere, wind coming from another direction, another layer of atmosphere. They kind of come together, and they don't have to be perpendicular. They can kind of be like this way. It's just an interaction of two different wind patterns. And there's not a lot of shear in the atmosphere for this system that will move through in the early morning hours for us. So I'm not worried about tornadoes. What we might have potential of is maybe some hail, pea-sized, dime, quarter-sized hail, and some winds, maybe some thunder and lightning. We might not have any thunder, might not have any lightning. It could literally just be a nice heavy rain that passes through our area. But there again, weather is going to weather, so you should always have a safety plan, so that if you get, if you got your phone and things start wailing at you like 4 in the morning saying tornado warning, make sure you have a place to go quickly in your house, an interior room away from doors and windows, away from glass, and lowest floor possible in your building, and cover it with blankets. If you got to go like in a bathroom, protect your little ones and your fur balls. But yeah, I'm not really worried about tornadoes in the system at all. So let's take a look at some of the other model data on the HRRR model. It's always fun to look at the severe weather. It's just like interesting to look at. Sometimes these things are a little bit like they can show where there's going to be. I don't want supercell composite just yet. Kind of want to look at. I guess I am going to look at supercell composite. Sometimes they can overdo stuff, like especially HRRR is a little more aggressive usually on stuff. But like, so this is supercell composite. So this is going to be where like supercells, the chance of supercells supercells, like discrete supercells, are going to be where you find your tornadoes. And supercells are kind of usually a good precursor for tornadoes to happen. So as we get into those evening hours and in the early morning hours around 5 or so in the morning, you can see this little gray area that passes over. There's a little splotch of dark blue over western Clark County. But I just don't see there's going to be much in the way of anything to worry about. There's a decent amount of CAPE. We looked at this a little bit ago on the NAM3K, but there's a decent amount of CAPE. Not much has changed here from what the NAM3K was showing. We'll take a look at we'll just bring this on over here because I don't know if this is going to show us what's going to go on Sunday. So this is Sunday afternoon around noon o'clock or so. So like storms might start popping off again, which is kind of what we saw on the NAM3K. We saw a little bit of a pop of storms happen in the afternoon hours of Sunday. So we'll take a look at what SCUT looks like there and see. So we have a pretty big dry slot further up in the atmosphere, that's why our storm. So you got this dry slot right here, way higher in the atmosphere, and while there's very little capping, so storms could go pretty tall, because you have this dry slot higher up in the atmosphere. It's going to mean that hail is going to have a harder time to like cycle around and get big and big and big. So this significant hail perimeter is like 0.5, which is like pretty much maybe no hail at all. But there is a bit of relativisticity with this particular system on Sunday afternoon. That's respectable, 124 and 202. It's not like critically high, but it's respectable. There's just not a lot of shear to accompany that, so I don't think there's going to be a tornado setup at all. Precipitable water is at 1.25, so it's debatable. You can see the gap here between the green and the green dew point and the temperature red plot right here. Anytime you have those gaps there, the atmosphere is dry, and it's a little harder for condensation, or for convection rather, to start happening. So this is the Sunday afternoon system. So Sunday afternoon, debatable. We might have some severe weather Sunday afternoon, or like maybe some rain, honestly. Okay, we'll take a look at one more thing, and then we'll come back and kind of cap everything off. So this is the significant tornado perimeter. This is about right now. And you can see here spots in over western Tennessee, like the Cape value is off the roof right there. It's like 4,600. That's crazy. So pretty high Cape, but yeah, so this is early. So we just kind of go through the evening hours. You can see that as this front moves southeast, it loses a lot of its steam and bite. And by the time it gets into our area here in Georgia and Athens area, like there's very little left of anything. So there's just so the possible hazard type on this QT says tornado, but there's not a lot of surface cape here. Cloud level is 210. It's pretty low, but there's a decent amount of capping. Negative 157. Storms could pop off, but it'd take a little bit more of like a trigger, maybe 2 triggers to get off, like to pop a storm off. But the Cape values at surface is 765. There's not a lot of energy at the surface level for where tornadoes are going to want to live. Forecast Cape is at 3348. Precipitable water is 1.27, so potentially be some decent. So the hail perimeter is pretty strong right here. So the significant hail perimeter is at 2.1. So with the system on Sunday afternoon, it's looking like there's pretty. The relative humidity, the dew point is pretty high, even if you get up in further in the atmosphere, where as hail starts cycling around, these storms going up and cycling back down, hail could get pretty big. And I say pretty big, we locally isolated, maybe dime quarter size hail, maybe even some golf size hail in places. But it's not like that would be a widespread event. It would probably be very isolated if it happens at all. So there's potential for tornadoes with this setup, only because there's storm and this is again for Sunday afternoon, not tonight, not early tomorrow morning. For Sunday afternoon, the relativisticity from surface to 1 kilometer is 93, and up to 3 kilometers it's 104. There's not a ton of helicity, and the shear is like not a ton of shear either. So it says tornado over here, but I'm not going to say fake news, because definitely you could have a tornado form with all this, but I just don't think it's likely that that's going to happen. And if something, excuse me, if something did pop off Sunday afternoon, it's likely that it would be weak and short-lived. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of danger there. So that's what our weather's looking like. Again, let me cycle back over to just our precipitation, and we'll kind of wrap down on that. And so we'll go here. So again, so we're looking at the system. This front passes southeast out of the Tennessee area into Georgia in the early morning hours. We'll start seeing a squall line of sorts. I really want to cough. I was out mowing my grass earlier, and so I've got probably grass dust in my throat right now. It's kind of nasty. Excuse me. So the squall want to pass through around 3-ish, 4-ish, 5-ish in the morning, so you may get woken up to some thunder. I just don't think it's going to be that strong. Let's see if there's lightning flash density and see if there's anything fun happening. So this suggests that there's going to be potentially a decent amount of lightning, 5 flashes. So we could have a decent amount of thunder with this system, based on what this HRRR model is saying. So I expect expect some thunder in the early morning hours. Again, have that safety plan ready to go. But right now, this system's going to move on out of our area into Saturday morning. So be nice to get up and enjoy hopefully it'll be a little cool. What will the temperature be, I wonder? What will the temperature be on Saturday morning? Because I'm just wondering. So temperatures will be a lot better. It's better than today. So we'll be looking at temperatures around the low 70s or so, 69 degrees when we get up tomorrow morning. So head on down to Strickland's or Mama's Boys or wherever, get yourself a biscuit and have a good Saturday. Enjoy the weather, and there'll be a lot of cool stuff happening in town on tonight and tomorrow night. I think tonight Attack is at the 40 Watt Club, and there is a Go Bar kind of like fun time reunion kind of thing happening at Hendershots tomorrow. So DJ Twin Powers is going to be there, and some other folks, so that'll be pretty fun at Hendershots. Tomorrow night there'll also be pro wrestling happening at the 40 Watt Club. It's probably where I'm going to be, as my friend Trevor Eon is wrestling there tomorrow, and Trevor Eon recently became a champion like in this promotion in South Georgia, so like he's got a championship belt and all that, so I hope to get a picture of that with him tomorrow. He's been to see our band a ton, and I've never seen him wrestle. He wrestles like all over the place, like it's fucking South Georgia and Alabama and everywhere. He's a hard worker. So it'll be fun to see him wrestle. That's where I'm going to hang out tomorrow. So pro wrestling for sure. And I feel like there's some other shit happening tomorrow too. But like there's literally a thread on Reddit, so you can go there, or we'll look at on Flagpole event calendar. But like. Yeah, so hopefully everyone have a safe night tonight. Not worried about any kind of really crazy severe weather. I don't think we're going to have any tornadoes tonight, but just be prepared just in case that happens. It does look like Sunday afternoon based on the model data we have available to us right now. Excuse me, that's Sunday is 2 days away, so things can change. So as of right now, it looks like there's potential for some more severe weather on Sunday afternoon around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll keep an eye on the model data. If anything changes by the time I go to bed tonight, for early in the morning hours, I'll jump on and do a live stream. But right now, I'm not worried at all. I hope y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you on the next stream. Take care.